see if Samy can pronounce his name together.
Hopeg. Massapequa, I know that one. Matatuk. Okay. Minola. God. Quag.
Yeah,
Oh, Quag.
That's pretty impressive.
Windanch. Fuck. Ronkonkoma, I know that one. Sayasit.
Okay.
Comac, all right, I could do that one. All right. Yeah. And Patachug. Patchug. One of the two.
Yeah, kid. Welcome, everybody. Are we on? Are we running? Yeah.
You just run right into that. That's
Handsome. Yeah. So wait, hold on. So this is going to be a good one. Lord only knows.
Gee.
We're going to talk about Samy and his freaking new shredded self. He looks fantastic.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we didn't really come up with
You actually look good, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like you're like, what are you doing?
A lot of manual labor, actually.
Are you?
Yeah. I've gotten, yeah, there's context behind that. I swear, I'm like, that sounds so diabolical. Maybe can we go back?
What is the context?
I've been.
Perhaps give an example.
Okay, so an example would be
moving furniture?
Yeah,
Dude, that's not
setting up furniture.
I thought you were going to tell me you and your dad are outside and you're like digging ditches and planting fucking trees and shit. I'm like, what are you doing that?
I mean, I've been doing some gardening, yeah. But that's why I said we should go back. Yeah.
You live in a multifamily property. Why are you gardening?
Well, it's therapeutic. It's nice. I want my place to look nice.
Yeah, there's definitely more than
annuals versus perennials. I was always a garden guy. I had like 14 Japanese maple trees in my house.
I never knew this.
Yeah. Most people don't.
You want to introduce Samy? Because we've been doing these for a while. Nobody knows Samy.
Yes. Everybody. Samy is not doing manual labor over here. He is doing a different kind of labor.
You guys kind of look like you could be related. Like he's like a distant cousin of yours.
So to the audience here, this is Mr. Samy Tyby, the CFO, Director of Sales here of the O'Neill Team organization, if he doesn't run and quit right after the show. But yeah, Samy, you want to say hi to the audience here?
Yeah. Super excited to be here. Joined Dan's team at the end of Q4, and don't worry, not going to quit. I think I've seen it all. Been in real estate, property technology for over a decade. Had an opportunity to actually cross into the dark side, as I like to say it.
Is that a Rolex?
It is.
Let me see that thing. No, take it on. Let me try it on.
Now this is guy Charles. Now, can we? By the way, I do this every time I come on the show. It's the evolution of Charles. It's unbelievable, man. The guy's got Nikes on. The guy's into fashion. He has a Stanley Cup. Can we please show Charles a Stanley Cup? He doesn't have a phone case on his phone. This guy, like, you go back and watch 4 years ago. How things change. Unbelievable.
Well,
he's actually growing hair. The guy's gonna have a full head of hair soon. The next podcast.
I'm aging reverse. It's the cold plunge.
Reverse.
I hear you're a big fan of the cold plunge.
Yeah, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I would never go on record saying that I've ever done it my entire life. It does have a lot of benefits to it,
I mean, I like to cool plunge my face every once in a while after
the cold plunge.
Too many drinks.
The cold plunge is amazing. Have you ever cold plunged?
I haven't done a cold plunge, but I've done cryotherapy quite a few times.
Okay, you like it?
It feels like a bunch of like needles hitting your skin like really fast. But once you get out, you like blood just flows through your entire body. Any back or neck pain gone right away.
Interesting.
It's been a while, but yeah.
I had a question, but I remember that the cameers are on.
You got a haircut last night for this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, no, I got to tell you, you're looking dapper these days. What's going on?
I told you. It's
not you moving furniture from one apartment to the other isn't getting you in this type of shit.
No, I think it's my mindset. I haven't drank in except for Orlando, my 30th, and what?
No, that could be it. Not drinking.
Yeah. I think I drank like 3 times in like 120 days, something like that.
Drinking,
except for some I have to work like a beer here and there. But yeah, I haven't drank.
Don't you feel better when you're not abusing substances?
Yeah. I'm still abusing like Zyn. I don't think I'm ever gonna kick nicotine, but I feel so much better. I mean, like not being hungover for 3 days is incredible. How much work you can get done?
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
Yeah,
like you don't have like that fog in your head. But however, it is March 27th, 28th,
27.
Yeah, so I'm like past. I used to need like a once a quarter, like just demolish myself and remember why I don't like drinking. The old Dan. But like, I don't even actually. We're almost at April 1st. We're almost at Q2, and I don't even really have that desire or need.
Yeah,
it's kind of a nice feeling.
It's cool growing up.
Yeah. Oh, since the last podcast too. My God.
Dan can no longer say he's 29 years old.
Yeah.
Now you're 30.
Everything hurts.
You know what the cool part is? Life begins at 30.
It really
I
does.
didn't even know who the fuck I was at 30. 30 feels like a long time ago, but it was a long time
It
ago.
looks like it was yesterday with your new fashion. How good you look, dude. This guy is running OG Fitness. I can't stress enough. Yeah, if you haven't seen Charles, like
Thanks, man.
his biceps are ripping through the t-shirt. He's tan. I don't know how he got tan overnight. It's got to be he's growing hair. He has a Stanley Cup that he claims he just found at Target. Yeah, okay.
I did.
No, you didn't. Just like you found those Nikes, just like you found your don't.
What is this? What are you trying to insinuate? This is what happens when you date significantly younger women?
It looks like you left Columbus Circle recently.
What
It looks like you hang out
from
in.
Columbus Circle, in the city.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It looks like you hang out in Dumbo every
Ted-
single weekend.
Ted Snyder.
Ted
No,
It looks
I'm
like
not-
you own a prop tech company.
No, I went to Dumbo. I went to
Yeah,
Dumbo
it does
last
look
week.
like that.
No, I'm not. I'm not that trendy. I was in Dumbo last weekend. It's.
How would I have known that?
I was because you saw it on Instagram.
No, I didn't see anything. I don't even go on
I saw
Instagram
it
anymore.
on Instagram.
Thank you.
I did.
Yes.
There we go. Party foul.
Yeah, it doesn't. It can't go that far. It's got good rates though, bro. You're good. You're good. All right. So what's been going on since our last? What was it? Last quarter? How long ago was it?
Yeah, it was right when I made that. We brought on the ISAs. I think it was like the end of summer because I had a nice fresh
Zillow,
fade.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida, Zillow, crushing Zillow. I took a big bet.
You took a what?
Big bet. Like I took a big chance.
Okay.
Like, right, investment and all the different things.
Wait. So what was our last podcast?
The end of summer.
It's that long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, we didn't do one for like 3 years. Remember, I was going through it too because I remember talking about crying about Bieber, Stevie Wonder. I remember that time like specifically. You know, you can like associate a time with like a.
Oh yeah.
You know.
You were
So-
going through it. What were you going through?
Yeah, I was just. I mean.
Jesus Christ, this thing is fucking going off. It sounds like I'm ripping
So
farts.
and it's like it's giving me like almost like a PT like anxiety because I feel like it's mine and I don't even know where mine is now. And now I'm thinking about my poor mother.
No such thing as anxiety. It's all in your head.
You like we can debate that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, anxiety is all you.
Boom.
No, it's anxiety. Yeah, it exists.
It's anxiety exists.
Not wrong.
It's not physical.
You have anxiety. You
Well,
just don't.
according to Gary Brecka, it's the MTHFR gene. Okay, and you could supplement for that shit. It's your body's ability to take certain raw materials and make them useful or not.
So your body.
Gary Brett.
Yeah.
Some guy that bought Scrubs on Amazon and now Charles believes him.
Yep.
And you saw him on TikTok. You can't possibly think that anxiety is not. My dog has anxiety.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows Gary Brecka. You know Gary
No.
Brecka? Yeah, he knows Gary Brecka. He does. All right. So, do I believe anxiety is a real thing? I'm sure it is. It wasn't something that was either prominent and or discussed in my generation. Like I don't remember growing up, going to school, and having people like, "Oh my God, anxiety." Here today, everyone.
Yes. Oh, okay. So that actually just brought up now I remember too the last podcast that we did.
Yeah.
I remember it was a post over the summertime, and it was when I stopped drinking and stopped doing whatever. And someone, you were talking about exactly this.
I like whatever.
Yeah. But no, I think anxiety. I mean, like think about it, right? When you went to high school, I made this exact joke, and it went over everyone's head. And
Reagan was president.
yeah, that was a great joke. That like I said, like electricity was just it was a good joke, right? It was went over everyone's head. But I think now people do use anxiety as like a crutch, but it's also like
It's called like the stress of life. Like shit's going on, you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think some people like suffer from it like worse.
People have there's varying levels of it.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, maybe it's because we didn't have social media. How old are you?
I'm gonna be 36 this year.
Yeah, so you're like stuck in the you're
I'm in the.
You're in the middle.
The awkward.
in the middle between the two of us.
Yeah.
Aren't you like 20? Aren't you like 31 now?
44 years old, dude. I'm gonna be 45 years old today. I did this not today. This year.
So,
I'm gonna be 45 this year. It's crazy.
No, but to your point about anxiety, I think we live in a world of on demand and overstimulation, which ultimately we create our own angst. And I mean, I get it. There's times throughout the day where I'm like, is this like true anxiety that I'm dealing with, or am I feeling overwhelmed by all the excitement that's happening around me, whether it be negative excitement or positive excitement? So I hear you. I get it.
Gary Brecka.
Call
Check him
Gary
out.
Brecka.
No, it's called the motherfucker gene. It's true.
The motherfucker gene.
60% or 40% of the people in this in America in the world have this genetic mutation.
So example, I don't know, your 10 deals die in a day, or you're anxious.
That's not anxiety. That's like life, dude.
Okay, but okay.
You know what it is? Maybe all right. So maybe it's the definition of anxiety. When I think of anxiety, I just think of uncontrollable nerves that isn't necessarily related to something, or everything gets blown out of proportion to the point where you're totally overwhelmed by the fact that like it's gonna rain.
So right now, as we sit here, I have anxiety about the following, and it makes me want to, I jump around. It makes me want to, like, my skin crawl. It makes me want to,
Your phone.
my phone. The fact that my vape is probably somewhere within the seat, but I can't find it. The fact that right now I feel like I'm lower than Sammy, and I feel like I'm a little bit hunchback. More importantly, Florida, our deals, my mother, our insurance is due tonight, so I have to make sure I make that payment. I have a check at my mom's house. I have a check here. John Cariello, I have to get back to 2 leads. I have a seller listing lead. My car wash guy's called me 7 times. I don't know why. There's got to be some sort of problem going on. He was power washing a listing today for me. We have a new subdivision coming out on Friday.
So let's talk about it, because we're always like, we always have the banter of the brokerage and whole team thing, and like, doesn't make sense, doesn't make money. How do you do it? Whatever, right? We've been very like, vocal and bantering about this, right? So
and you've helped me a ton, so we should preface that. Like, all jokes aside, the reason I just love podcasting with you. It's always a good time. I feel like people can learn for the sometimes in between all this, minutia. But and from the last time we podcasted until now, and all the help that you've provided and given, and mentorship and all the above, I think there's a way to help other people that are watching this, and just kind of like
there'll be some snippets of
knowledge and just like continuing the story. But sorry, what was your question?
Oh, how's it going?
Good.
So like, because let me tell you something. In the real estate world, like, shit's hard. It's not easy. Like, we're out there fucking battling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, battling. First of all, New York's the hardest place to do anything. I don't give a shit where you are. I know you're saying, nah, it is. It's fucking hard. New York is really fucking hard.
Definitely.
I mean, the boroughs are harder than Long Island, but New York is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And the market's hard, and fucking, the NAR thing, and agents, and people can't get listings, and they can't get things accepted, and there's no inventory, and it's fucking hard, and shit's expensive.
Yep.
It's really difficult too. Like we talk about all the time, like running things at scale, brokerage, team model. All the above. It's
not easy.
So I think like that was the question.
Teams, brokerages.
Yeah, and
do
like
they,
Q4 going through it.
Do they make sense? Like, what are the challenges? Is it you starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Because you're in deep, dude.
Yeah,
you're in deep.
Well, and it was your advice. It's like, it's either you kind of like do your own thing. You can't. There's no like in between. It's either you do your own thing, or you grow something at scale, and you kind of have to, like,
massive scale.
Yeah, and like we both have like the growth, and Sammy too, like growth mindset, vision mindset. Like while we're sitting here right now, I'm sure you have 3 ideas that you're gonna go. I had an idea for you this morning. You didn't text me back.
Sorry, I was in the shit.
I totally understand. You were a bit too busy looking at those memes.
Like I said, like you were saying before, either
So
be a soul. Everybody who wants to open up a team, it's not that fucking easy, man.
No,
it's not. It's not that easy.
No.
There's like a lot of layers, and if it's not going to be massive, then just don't do it. Because if you have these visions of like, I'm doing business, and you know what, I want to slow down, so I'm going to open up a team, and these people are going to run around, and I'm going to make money off them, and it's going to be awesome. That's not what's going to happen.
Nope.
Most of them aren't going to fucking do shit. It's going to cost you a ton of money and waste a lot of your fucking time. And at the end of the day, it doesn't make fucking sense.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like 99 times out of 100.
I think it goes back to people why they're starting the team too. Like, I called all the time, hey, I'm going to start a team because I'm getting too busy and I need a couple agents to show houses. Like, call me in a year. That ain't going to work.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, I think like we've gotten away from the mindset of wanting to have a full roster of headshots that with folks that don't transact, versus like a full roster of headshots with folks that will actually transact. And right now, it's clear as day. Is if you don't have the tenacity, the organization, and the grit to like get business done, it's going to be a rough road ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And listen, and as it should, you know what it is? Being a real estate salesperson over the last 15 years has gained a certain level of legitimacy that it did not have before. And it should. Right? Because there are great agents, and then there are agents that just suck. And the agents that are great are really great.
Yep.
Yeah. You were giving a lot of credit to Beth Lowe the other day.
Beth Lowe.
Yeah. How she got her deal done fat, right? Like, working with you, she dropped off the check. Like, they're the Beth Lowe's and the people that have been doing this consistently at a high level for a long time. And then there's just like no, there's like, up here, and then there's really no like middle ground. And then there's like, the agent that gets one listing and won't return your phone calls for like a year.
There's the 5%, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
and this is like a scary time. Not a scary time, but like I'm scared for those people who are not getting better, who are like that lower tier, right? That are not doing the
Don't be.
dropping off the checks. And it's just like the person that I am though, because we're surrounded by a lot of them that are not potentially going to be here in the next couple of years.
This has been a really tough month. Like we've been doing good, but this has been a tough month. Like we got a lot of deals, we lost a lot of deals. I feel like I'm literally arm wrestling people on their fucking lawn for their house this month. Like this is a wild month. We're doing good.
Yeah.
But it's fucking brutal out there.
It's not easy.
It is brutal. And in New York, everything is harder, man. Now you got these goddamn property condition disclosure shits that we have to fill out. So we're waiting on that on top of the fact that we're trying to get fucking contracts in. The attorneys fuck everything up because A, they're shot, B, they don't return calls, and C, they want to put their opinion in. And it's okay if they have an opinion that fucking matters, but their opinion usually doesn't matter and fucks the whole transaction up.
Amen. Shout out to Brian Melnick, who does not do that. But
Brian Mel does not fuck up the transaction.
But yeah, we're dealing with the same thing. And Long Island is objectively, in my opinion, like one of the hardest markets. When we're getting these prop tech, like companies that are reaching out to us, we're like, hey, have you ever operated in Long Island? Have you ever operated in New York?
Nope.
Open Door, some of the other ones.
Yep. And I think what we're recognizing is that because New York is such a unicorn state when it comes to real estate, specifically Long Island and the 5 boroughs, that there is not a lot of alignment across what like the expectation that these property technology companies have of their potential clients versus like what is actually feasible and possible given constraints / red tape.
I love how like Samy is like the responsible adult who's like super corporate and professional in the middle, and then it's you and I on the fucking side, like bookends.
I'm trying.
It's a shit show.
Yeah,
I'm trying over here.
I've been trying to unwind my acronyms and take my corporate hat off, no pun intended. But it's 12 years ingrained into my blood. So
No, it's hard. Like I go to these masterminds and shit, and I talk to people, and they're like, "You're doing it in New York?"
Yeah.
Like nobody's ever like. People do virtual wholesaling and stuff. They don't do virtual wholesaling in New York, really. That shit doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
People in New York do virtual wholesaling in other markets because it's so hard to source deals in New York.
Yeah, I didn't want to name the names.
shout out to Amanda. She actually just got an accepted offer on a virtual tour from an out-of-state buyer.
Yeah, that was dope.
Which was great. So
Yeah.
it happens sometimes. Few and far between though. Not bulk deals though.
No, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
This was what I heard this morning from Elon Musk. I was going to send it to you, but you didn't call me back. But now I know how to get your attention. So
You didn't call me.
I texted you. Elon Musk on starting a company.
What is he doing?
On him, on starting a company.
The company will die. Three things.
Like being a CEO. Like you're the CEO.
Oh, yeah.
Stressful. And then the eating glass part is you're going to work on the problems that the company needs you to work on, not the problems you want to work on. And so you end up working on problems that you'd really wish you weren't working on. And so that's the eating glass part. And that goes on for a long time. So heck,
Elon Musk explains why starting a company is like staring into the abyss and eating glass.
Yeah. No,
not wrong.
It's not wrong.
He's not wrong, right? So that's
It's not for the faint of heart.
no.
It's only the people that just like being tortured.
True leaders will eat glass for breakfast to make sure that they're protecting their ecosystem when it comes to their overall business. So I agree with him on that.
Yeah, I feel like we're eating glass every day. Eating glass and
Eating, walking on it, all the above.
I'm sleeping on it.
But yeah, going back to your point earlier that you made, specifically around like the industry and the turn of events. Obviously we know it's going to be hard, but I think the idea, and obviously over time, real estate professionals have gained a little bit more credibility. To your point, and I think till this day, the allure of becoming an agent doesn't necessarily like resonate that well with every single individual that has the idea of wanting to get their license and ultimately, become this independent contractor, when in reality they don't have necessarily either the skill set, I call it the will and the skill to be able to execute. And time again, we notice like, okay, cool. People are reaching out to a real estate professional to make their biggest investment of their lifetime, right? Whether it be on the sell side or the buy side. And if that agent isn't invested and or doesn't carry themselves in a way that is conducive to what that particular buyer or seller is looking for, they're going to lose, because at the end of the day, this is a business built on trust, right? And sales, if you think about it, is transfer of enthusiasm from one person to the next. So how excited can you be to ultimately help that person find their next property? Or most importantly, how excited are you going to be to see that person, unlock $500,000 in equity in their home that they may have been sitting on for 25 years? And I think that's where people miss the boat a lot of the times. taking this back to the serious show. A lot of times as it relates to like real estate reality versus real estate dreams. And unfortunately, those folks, they won't make it for very long. Sorry.
You guys see, surround yourself with the right people. Sammy's stock is going through the roof. I'm trying to be Danny serious over here, and my mom's gonna call me about an hour and tell me to come home. Like,
No, we're not streaming this.
oh, okay.
Next week. Next week she'll call you. She'll think, what the fuck is wrong with two of you guys?
But it does make sense. I mean, like you have Mark, you have these guys, you have all the right people around you, and that was kind of what I found at the end of Q4. It was like, all right, do I just go off and do this by myself and like not do the team anymore because it wasn't fair to them? And I think I said this on the last podcast. Wasn't fair to them, wasn't fair to myself. I was driving myself crazy. Gave it one last ditch effort, like sacrificed a lot.
And listen, you could be a solo agent and make a lot of money.
Yeah, and I'd probably be living in Costa Rica like 6 months out of the year, probably in Tulum, I think, with my work ethic. But I would never do that. Yeah, I'd rather sleep on an air mattress for 3 months.
And to your point, Charles, like, yeah, as a solo agent, Dan could probably be making 3x what he's currently making. And I think it all comes back to like that individual person's why. Like when I moved from an individual contributor to a sales leader at a fairly large company, I didn't do it because I thought I was going to make more money. Actually, I knew I was going to make less money. I did it because I actually genuinely enjoyed seeing other people find success and ultimately find their footing, which then, gives back to them, to their family, to their communities, whatever. And then in turn, you realize that if you're an exceptional leader and you execute flawlessly time and time again, and you ingrain the operational excellence in your team, but beyond just that, like get them to see you, I call it see me do, you're going to create the multiplier effect. When you have the multiplier effect and people are operating knowing that they're not going to be, the exact clone of a Dan O'Neill or a Charles Weinraub or a Samy Tyby, they're going to go out there and do their absolute best, which in turn rises your stock, not only from an equity perspective, but from an overall pay perspective.
I'm just pulling on my phone so I could get some of this brilliance.
Well, you got to team up for a question first, but it is brilliant, right? Like,
I'm getting ready.
I appreciate it.
Well, and so to that, Charles made me kill me. To that, like, yeah, could I? But I think it's don't film me. To your point too, like, why are you? Don't film me. My voice cracked, and now I'm uncomfortable. Get him like saying something good too.
Okay.
No, but we do this. Like, think about how cool it is to look back. And yes, she's your girlfriend now, but 4 years ago, right, or 3 years ago, when we did the podcast with Amanda. Like now, Amanda has her own brand. Amanda is her own brand. Amanda is having success like that we knew she was going to 3 years ago. So now you start doing that times 2 or times 3 times 5. Like that's the real dopamine hit.
And let me
look at what you've done.
It's altruism. It's an altruistic piece of real estate in leadership. And I think a lot of times
you're actually going to you're really going to do that video. That's
of course I posted it. It's not, but the point is, no, it's cool too. Even though Amanda fights me on everything every minute of every day, it's still very rewarding to see everything that she's done and how hard she's worked and what she's become, top 20 under 40, and she's constantly out there doing deals in a very, very competitive market.
Yeah.
And
she's speaking everywhere. Like we're getting calls like, hey, can we book Amanda to come speak? Like,
it's great.
It's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah.
And just to just totally get this out there.
Yeah.
I funnel a lot of business to people. I don't funnel business to her at all. No. Period. She does all of her own shit. So that's very rewarding.
Is that like a misconception? People think that?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure people think like, oh, you're.
It was one of the first questions I asked her, actually.
I'm sure it did.
It really was.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, my dad's like freaking in the top 0.5% of agents upstairs because I funnel business to him, right? But I do not funnel any business to Amanda, period.
I mean,
she gets all of her own shit.
Yeah.
And listen, will she work an open house? If we have someone to work an open house, yeah, but she'll work the buyers, the people that come in the she'll get it done. But tons of agents have the opportunity to work open houses and people don't want to fucking work.
Yeah.
Bro, there's a lot of times where we can't get open houses filled. Like we have open houses for people to work and nobody wants to do it.
Yeah. Trust us, we know. And we also know the ones that you're talking about too, because we get them at Friday at 3:00.
Buzzword of the afternoon. I'm fundamentally perplexed that anybody that would not want to work an open house. Like it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Open house is the greatest thing ever.
You are literally sitting there with an opportunity to captivate buyers, whether they're interested in that property or not. Yep. And if you're a good agent and you're doing your due diligence and you've made it a lasting impression, it doesn't matter what house you're at. You're going to win them over. And I think a lot of times folks go in with the mindset of like, oh, open houses, they're all going to come with their listing agent. They're all going to come with representation. When in reality, it's like, great, you could be represented right now, but what happens in 2 months from now when that agent that you're working with isn't actually delivering the results that you expected?
You know what the problem is? It sounds kind of crazy. Nobody knows how to sell.
Yeah.
Like real estate agents don't know how to sell.
They don't.
And it's a combination of things. Like now everyone's into the whole like, oh, branding thing, whatever. Yeah, but you need to know how to fucking sell. And agents don't know how to sell. Like I had a whole thing when I was working with the team yesterday and I'm like, you have to ask for the fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask for the business. How many salespeople are like, well, here are the comps. This is that. You know, let me know what you think. No, ask for the fucking business. Hey, I know you want to get this thing sold because I've been sitting in your living room for an hour. And if you weren't interested in selling your house, I wouldn't be sitting here in your goddamn living room on a Sunday because you could be doing a million other things other than that. Yeah. So since you want to sell your house, here's the listing agreement. Here's a fucking pen. I just need your autograph. I'll have my photographer here tomorrow or Tuesday. Which do you prefer? Then shut the fuck up and look at them and wait for them to say something.
Firm but flexible. Firm but flexible. You gave 2 options. I love that.
Both beneficial to you. Yep. And then they object, and that's when the sale begins. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, a wind-up monkey can fucking sign listing docs and fucking take some pictures with his cell phone, usually with their thumb in it, and put the thing on MLS. Yeah. That's not being a professional.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I do think that agents do miss the boat when it comes to asking for the business, but I think me being like a natural born salesperson, I was selling fragrance at Nordstrom's Michigan Avenue in Chicago while I was in college at 19 years old. That said, you know, and moving and having the opportunity to work with lots of agents, there's just no like sales process. It doesn't exist, right? Like they don't understand how to set the agenda, set the stage, understand that like what you learn, qualifying. They're like, oh, are you pre-qualifying? That's not qualifying. Like, let's be real. If you don't understand your prospects' wants, needs, and pains, how are you going to ultimately find a solution, right? Like your sale should be a solution to an issue or an opportunity that a particular person has. And if you don't ask the right questions, but most importantly, if you don't incorporate the responses that you get from a prospective buyer or seller into your sales pitch, you've literally wasted their time and yours. People want to be heard, and they ultimately want to know that like Charles or Dan is there to help solve for a specific solution or a pain point that may be a point of friction in their life.
You know what's also probably a really big problem also in real estate is lack of at-bats.
Yeah.
You can't learn without at-bats. Yep. So I'll give you an example. So how did I learn to sell? I sold paint jobs in Mako in fucking Hempstead every day. And we would write like 60 estimates a week. And I was trained by a guy who sold Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door in the 70s and was literally the best salesman I've ever met in my life. Dude was surgical. That shit is dead. They don't have that stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. But the point is, every week, 60 people would come in and I would pitch. I would pitch on the phone. I would pitch constantly. If you're a realtor, you don't really get a lot of opportunities to pitch. So A, you're not getting the education. B, you're not getting the at-bats. It's hard to get good.
But I think, so I agree to disagree because I think that at-bats are, like you can only control what you can control. So I think the at-bats is something that I can control. I can go knock on 100 doors. I can go cold call 100 times. And I can practice my pitch. I could practice it on Samy, right? So I don't think at-bats is, agreed and disagreed. Where I think the bigger problem is most people get into this business without any sales training. They don't get taught it in the real estate exam. No. Unless they go to NYU, right? Or they have a good mentor, they're not getting that. Unless they have a Samy. And the bigger problem is most people get in the business and say, I want to sell a couple of houses to my friends and my family. They don't want to actually run a business. Yeah. Like that's not the objective.
And a lot of them are, and with all, not to interrupt you, but they, some people are salesmen and they're not meant to run businesses. Yeah. Running a business and being a salesperson are two totally fucking different things a lot of times. Yeah. You can be a great plumber. You're not meant to own a plumbing business.
Yep.
I think I'm a good salesperson. I think I was a shitty business person. And I think I'm now learning and I'm, like that's just a true statement, right? Yeah. Because I got into the business. I had a lot of success just myself. And then now it's okay. Well, now you have W-2, you have payroll, we have insurance. By the way, that's due at 5 o'clock. Didn't forget. Right, you have all these different things that like they don't teach you about fucking. I'm sorry to curse, but workers' comp. They don't teach you about, my God, pass-through tax, entity tax, escort, like all these different things. Maybe I didn't pay attention to. Well, I definitely did not pay attention to college, but I know they also didn't teach.
They didn't teach you shit. Yeah, having proper accounting, right? We all learned that fucking problem. Like,
no, but seriously though, the at-bats are super important. But I think what's more important is that agents don't go into conversations with an unconscious bias. A lot of times they go into conversations assuming the lead is bad, right? Like what defines a bad lead, right? At the end of the day, a lead is a human that has a phone number and an email address that has interest, right? They've raised their hand and they asked to reach out. for you to reach out to them, right?
I think we get to the, you know what the root of that is? Let's think about this.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong, but what do you think? The root of all that is, if I can disqualify this lead as not a real lead, then it's not it's not rejection.
Yeah.
You go in to sell somebody and they blow you out and you don't get it, you feel rejected. Not everybody can handle that shit.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, it's not a real lead, I'm not gonna do it. You don't have to go through the pain and discomfort of trying to sell somebody something, because selling somebody something is fucking uncomfortable. It's not a normal thing if you're a normal person.
And I agree with you, but I think being in sales, you have to embrace 99 no's before you get one yes, right? Like,
Of course.
that's what it really comes down to. And I think a lot of the times is like, it to your point, it gives the agent or the broker, whatever salesperson you are, the opportunity to cop out and make an excuse that like, oh, it was a bad lead.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad lead.
No lead's a bad lead.
You may not be the best salesperson.
Leads aren't weak.
Right?
The leads aren't bad.
You're weak.
Or the leads don't get better, or we get better.
And it's really a basic math equation. So it's like, if you're going to list 10 houses this year, you're going to have 100 conversations to set up 25 appointments to get 10 listings.
Yeah.
If you don't have all those conversations, the math's not mathing.
I bet you if you polled or put this on your Instagram story right now of how many agents, like out of 100, like that answered this truthfully, or if you're even listening to this, how many agents know or track their numbers to say how many calls to an appointment, how many appointments to a conversion, or how many open houses they have to do. Are you gonna put this on camera?
Say that again.
I bet you if you put this on your Instagram right now and asked everybody, right, 100 agents, if they track and measure their numbers, so how many calls to appointments, how many appointments to a converted buyer, sale, or listing, 99 out of 100 would say they don't know, or they would guess, truthfully.
If I had a magic wand and I could literally open up a brokerage tomorrow with all W-2 employees, you bet your Charles Weinraub that I would do it. And the reason I say that is because I think when you're dealing with independent contractors, I love you all. Thank you. The motivation varies, but most importantly, their ability to be receptive to the coaching and the guidance that they're getting and actually implement it in real time is, it doesn't exist that often. Let's just say not many people run with the guidance that they're either their mentor or their leader or Jeff Mays or Tom Ferry is providing. They allow it to, maybe influence how they approach, their next week, day, month, or year, but they don't necessarily take those practices and institute them and make them real life, business, right? And so, to your guys' point earlier about the at-bats, right? Going back to the at-bats, is like an at-bat is only as good as the person that's actually taking the swing.
True.
Right? And if you're not hitting it out of the park out the gate, that's totally fine. You got to be graceful and nice to yourself. But at the end of the day, you got to allow that rejection and that at-bat and that opportunity to fuel you to continue to go further. But beyond that, refine your sales pitch throughout the process to make sure that you're learning and using your learnings to ultimately go to your next at-bat and turn them into an actual converted buyer or seller.
But you two together in a room, talking about the amount I've learned from you, and now the amount that I've learned from Samy in a short period of time, and even the team too, on sales, you can get your master's degree from an hour-long podcast, truly.
Yeah.
Between you two.
I mean, really well-trained agents should be closing 75% of the time.
Yeah. So what gets in their way? Because we talked about it earlier, right? There's the
What's a combination?
top 5%, right? The Beth Lowe's and everybody, the Brian Carps, right? And then there's the people that aren't transacting. What is getting in their way?
I mean, it's a million different things. A lot of people are in their own head about shit. Sam was just saying. Yeah, a lot of people are in their head. A lot of people don't have the training, man. A lot of people are also fucking lazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to be uncomfortable. But a properly trained agent that has the hustle should be closing 75% of the time. I tell our people, when we're having this conversation, I'm like, you are better than everybody. You should walk out of there with the listing. If you don't have the listing, the only reason you don't get the listing is because they're unclosable, because their sister is an agent.
Yeah.
And even though they still really wanted to give it to you, their mother is like, if you don't give it to your sister, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
You should never lose a deal to another agent if you are set up properly.
Yeah.
But I think, what the biggest problem I think with agents also is they don't have any value prop. There's no value prop. I say this all the time. 4 agents standing there. Who'll do it for 4%? Who's the best? Who's going to sell it over ask? How do I distinguish you from everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
We just did that exercise this morning
Yeah.
with a few people, and
I mean, to me, like your value proposition should be your elevator pitch. It should be short, sweet, and concise, but it should ultimately really set you apart from the rest of. I mean, how many agents are in Long Island?
38,000.
38,000, right? Like there's.
Yeah.
How many people live in East Northport?
Yeah.
Probably 38,000, right? I don't know. I'm making things up.
Probably 15,000.
Wait.
15,000.
We should make him pronounce towns. He doesn't know. He
right.
can't pronounce a
Yeah, I
single
know.
town. It's so funny.
Love you, Long Island, but Nesconset or Nessaconset.
I said
Nessaconset.
You sound like you're from another country.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
He lived in Orange County. He
West,
lives in Long Island City.
West Coast to the East Coast, so I'm used to like the
That would
San
be
Jimenez, the
such a
San Juan
funny intro.
Capistranos, but no, yeah.
Him pronouncing Long Island names. Get him. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. To your point about training, Charles, I think you could have like the Maybach version of training, okay, right? And literally, I could hand it to you, but if you don't want it,
Yeah.
and you're not open and receptive to it, it's useless. And I think that's the issue, is that a lot of folks in our industry right now are super pompous and have too big of egos to understand that like they may not have all the answers.
No,
they may not know everything, and that's okay. Because trust me, you asked me a question about I don't even know a lead-based paint report. I'm gonna scratch my head, and I might Google some things, but I'll figure it out. Nevertheless, it all comes down to like the desire to actually want to level your game up. And I think a lot of people are like they go from one extreme to the other, when in reality we should just be focused on getting incrementally better by 10% month over month, right? There's going to be a ceiling. You might cap out, but when you cap out, then you pivot and you figure out what your next step is.
Yeah.
So love that.
We should just not talk, and Sam, we should just
Oh
talk.
shit, no.
That's normally what I do.
Yeah.
You gotta give me prompts.
I'm telling you, I'm going to pull up Long Island towns and have him pronounce it. But I think also what it comes down to is like, to your point, being coachable.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sit on the phone with me for 40 minutes and give me direction or give me directives and give me these seeds if you knew that I wasn't going to go back and actually implement or actually like do them. Like everything that I call you and I ask you about, and you point me in the direction of, that I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of people are afraid to ask for help, or like.
No, I think a lot of people are fucking lazy. Like I've tried to help a lot of people, and they just don't want to do it. They just don't want to put it in. I'm like, I'm very literal. This is what you have to do. You're posting like this. You're doing this. You're doing that. Like you're gonna suffer for 3 years. It's fucking miserable. Are you willing to do what it takes to get to what you're saying you want?
It's 3:30 for, like, really?
Yeah.
That is such a problem.
Why? 'Cause you have to have that
That is
insurance
such a
thing paid by
problem. That is
5?
such a no. That's fine. It is such a problem. I haven't done anything today except for podcasts. I've done so much, but I haven't done anything. That makes sense.
We're trying to bring in deals here. All right. So
Yeah.
in conclusion,
Jeez.
I don't even know what to say in conclusion to that.
We're scrapping this episode. It was good to hang out with you for an hour and a half.
No, these guys will turn it into something.
Yeah.
So listen, if anybody is looking to
No.
join the top team on Long Island,
Nope.
Okay. No.
Not anyone. Times have changed.
Okay. So who are you looking for?
Yeah, so if you're looking to join a team and you've been in the industry for 1+ years and have had 5 transactions or more under your belt, feel free to DM me, InstaSamy1, INSTASAMY1.
I'm quick, I'm easy. Greg's a good time. We want to buy it. 516-777 sold.
Yeah, man.